Hello there, mech fans, citizens of the internet, and Wolf fam. 'Tis I, Jackie Wolf of this channel, right here, to finally release a new Battletech lore video. I know, it's about fucking time, right? And I've already broke any kind of search result from YouTube. Great. But first, I gotta give a shout out to my friends over at the Outcast gaming community, a place for those who just don't fit in, a place for those who feel out of place, a place for those who just want to play games. The Outcast gaming community. Check the link down below and join. Tell them Jackie Wolf sent you. Now, anyways, mech guys and mech girls, let's pop open Code 1, lean back in that battle couch, and get this show on the road. I really fucking hate doing ad spotlights. Alright, the year is 3028. Hans Davion and Melissa Steiner are getting rather foxy with each other. In fact, in August they get married. And yes, it is actually an arranged marriage, before somebody asks about any of that, because I feel like it was important to put this in the script for some fucking reason. The Fourth Succession War is about to kick off, and the bond of the Lyrian Commonwealth and the Federated Sons are getting stronger. It's amazing, right? And to precipice a few years before, a mech by the name of the Hatchet Man came out, and it was the first mech to be designed and built since the Third Succession War. And it was built largely thanks to these bonds between the Steiners and the Davions. And it was a fairly successful design. But this led to a slightly different thing happening. A slightly interesting thing happening in 3028. Now, I can tell you it was probably tested before 2038. It's just the lore is a little bit weird in Battletech at times. The thing I'm talking about, of course, is the Wolfhound, a 35-ton beast of a light mech that was created on the order of Archon Katrina Steiner and the Federated Sons, and designed and built by Therhaus Industries. The Wolfhound was designed originally to fix a very bad issue with Steiner and Davion military planning, and that is that Jenners and Panthers and a few other light mechs that I'm not going into because that list gets very long, would beat on bigger mechs, run away, and take very little damage. That's what happens when you rely on too much DACA. That being said, during the course of the Fourth Succession War, the Wolfhound would be found out to be good at various other roles, including command, scouting, brawling, and in some cases spotting, which is very weird because I always figured that was part of scouting. You see, the thing is, the Wolfhound's a very capable mech, apparently. It's one of my favorites for a reason. But it's not for command, scouting, or brawling, it's for sniping. Because I can build a Wolfhound into a fucking sniper. Anyways, going back to not being on a tangent. So, yeah. It's an interesting little mech. So let's get into the OG baseline armaments of the Wolf WLF-1. It had one large laser, generally a Statana built, though naming and models mean very little actually. 3 forward-facing medium lasers and 1 rear-facing medium lasers. Laser. I said it with an S. I'm disappointed in myself. And 10 single heat sinks. Yes, this boat is very much a laser boat, which is a good thing, meaning it can be cut from supply lines and have a little bit more survivability. And on the topic of survivability, it also had a full head ejection system, meaning that pilots could actually, had a higher chance of surviving had their mech be destroyed. This is the same system the Hatchetman had, just for reference. Now, two of the most common refits of the WLF-1, in fact, the two most common, because anything other than this is not really going to be mentioned, is the WLF-1A, which loses the rear medium laser for an extra heatsink, bringing it up to 11 single heatsinks, and the WLF-1B, which removes the rear medium laser to the front, giving you a lot more power in the forward firing arc, which greatly increases damage output to the front, of course. You see, firing that rear laser can be a little bit tricky. Of course, the WLF-1 has a very bad drawback in the fact that it gets hot quick. I mean, it's an oven. Of course, most laser boats are like that. Though it can also run at 96 to 98 kph depending on whose rule set you're using. Like I said, Battletech, it's weird. But it is a nice little boat. I mean, I love my Wolfhounds. And part of the reason I'm making this video, right? So the bigger question is how do you adapt and change this to an even better boat? Well, the Wolfhound development kept going, though largely the same, changing out weapons and stuff like that, various different refits. In fact, this is not even the first WLF-2s. These are the WLF-2s that were built at Ark Royal. And Ark Royal got a license to build and adapt Wolfhound technology from Therhas after the Clan War. This is the WLF-2X, a prototype. And I'm not sure how many of these actually exist. I know it's considered a rare mech. It is a very interesting rare mech due to the fact that it has reflective armor, an actuator enhancement system, a supercharged extra light engine, an endo-steel chassis, a heavy PPC with a PPC capacitor system, which means it charges faster if I remember correctly, and 2 medium lasers and 1 small laser. Although I'm fairly certain that when I read it in a book, it said 3 medium lasers. But, you know, sometimes I might mistype, and I'm having to read this off Flash Notes, so. The WLF-2H production model kind of drops the experimental systems, the actuator enhancement system, the reflective armor, and the endo-steel chassis are completely gone, standing for some of the traditional Wolfhound armaments. For ease of production, of course. Now, this is still built at Ark Royal. It keeps the upgraded supercharger XL engine and the heavy PPC with capacitor, of course. But it switches out the medium laser and it switches out the lasers for their ER equivalents and has some fairly interesting drawbacks in the fact that it has worse cooling than the WLF-1. Unless I'm the guy redesigning it, because I put double heat sinks instead of single heat sinks, which is a big drawback. Although I believe that this was the model that had either, depending on where it was shipped to. And yeah, I'm not kidding, that was a fucking thing. And yes, I could go on about the millions of production models of freaking Wolfhound. And yes, there are millions. This mech has never actually been out of production. In fact, at the current end of the timeline, the Wolfhound is still being produced. I actually started I haven't read anything past the Jihad lore, so the WLF-2H is still the common model, although I do believe there is a WLF-2HS. but I couldn't even begin to describe it. So we're actually going to go into the heroes and champion mechs of the universe. And we're going to start with plot armor, Grinner. Grinner was Phelan Kell's personal battle mech. And I'm talking of Phelan Kell, Morgan Kell's son, and one of the guys in the Kellhounds mercenary unit that got his ass beat on a regular fucking basis by people in a bar in the Free Razzle Hog Republic in the very first book of the Currency trilogy. But after being destroyed by Clan Wolf on a meteor somewhere out in the periphery or deep periphery, and him going through a bunch of bullshit, it was rebuilt by Clan Wolf for Phelan Kell, with a shit ton of clan upgrades, including the engine and weapon systems. The upgrades, or the complete list of upgrades, actually are not very clear, and serves as the only example of a Wolfhound IIC or 2C, which is, just shorthand for it's the clan version. It has some upgrade shit. And we're going to go into our final Wolfhound that I know a lot about, which is the Wolfhound Allard. Daniel Allard of the Kellhounds, oddly again. After his Valkyrie was destroyed in 3027, Daniel was left dispossessed. And to describe being dispossessed, it is a very bad thing when you're a mech warrior to be dispossessed. It is like, how do I explain? It would be like being a taxi driver without a car. It would be like unable to work and feeling lost or something. It's really hard to describe. It's full of depression. But he gets a Wolfhound prototype in 3028 because Steiner's decided that the Kellhounds get prototypes because they're a loyal mercenary group made of misfits and outcasts, of all things. Anyways, enough tangents aside. He was given a Wolfhound prototype, which he upgraded to a WLF2 sometime during the clan invasion. It is actually not clear when he upgrades to a WLF2. And like I said, this is where the weird thing happens, where the Ark Royal WLF2s and the Therhouse WLF2s exist at slightly different times, but they're both considered Wolfhound 2s. Which is not a completely different mech. It's just an upgrade of that frame. It's weird. And later adding clan tech that he salvaged after the Battle of Lutheran, which was mostly the weaponry. However, it is also clear that he was given a Clan XL engine upgrade to the particular Wolfhound. And Ark Rule did a lot of work to his Wolfhound. So, just to put the specs in, it had a Clan XL engine, and it was probably supercharged or had a mask, because if I'm going to be honest, his Wolfhound actually seemed to break speed records, or was alluded to breaking speed records. It had a Clanner ER PPC in the right arm, 3 ER medium lasers, a rear-mounted ER small laser, all of which are clan tech, as well as a targeting computer because it saved weight, 12 double heat sinks. I had to get my terminology right because there are a few different types of heat sinks in this universe. And like I said, Tired Wolf is tired. This is actually about the 40th take of this. But before I go too far off into a tangent and go back to the topic at hand, Daniel would use this mech as his main mech up until his death in 3069, fighting Jade Falcon's forces on Graceland. Daniel Allard, everybody. There is actually one example of another famous champion, pilot, mech warrior, however you want to say it, that piloted a Wolfhound. However, it was a much later model. From what I'm guessing, I couldn't find much information on this, and 32nd century combat is not something I'm as well versed on. Is not something that I can readily go, okay, it's in this book, and I can try to condense it down into some kind of retarded video, right? Because let's face it, I've gone on about 50 fucking tangents at this point. But that Wolfhound, as far as I can tell, is a stock Wolfhound of a later variant, piloted by Commandant Tamara Duke, officer of the Storm Hammers. And like I said, I am not sure which model of Wolfhound. I'm not sure which era, what upgrades, or anything like that, because any information I have found about it leads me to a blank page. Thanks, Arna. However, the only bit of lore I know about Tamara is Tamara died fighting Jade Falcon during the Battle of Sky in 3134. Well, guys, I hope this does for the autistic lore video I keep pushing back further and further and further. If you'd like to see more of my content, which includes Let's Plays, gaming news when I get around to it, lore videos after about 600 hours of me bashing my head into my keyboard, please like, subscribe, hit that freaking notification thing, because apparently YouTube doesn't like content creators anymore. And comment your favorite mech and its variant, and I will see about writing a piece on it in the future, hopefully slightly better than this video. But until next time, guys, remember, you gotta play to get paid. Jackie Wolf signing out. Have fun, mercs.